Good afternoon, everybody. We are moving right along to more day three edges. Again, these are in no particular order, just an assortment of guys who I think are at the very least worth discussing when we get to day three. So, first in this video is going to be KJ Henry of the Clemson Tigers. 24 years old on the older side, but this guy's kind of a nice, comfortable, decent prospect. I feel like you're getting a pretty solid baseline of production with this guy. 6'4", 251 pounds, 33-inch arms, 10-inch hands, solid, solid, solid. 4'6", 340, passable, 165, 10-yard split. Not going to give you a lot of explosion, but he's going to give you a pretty good amount of strength, I think. 31.5-inch vert, 9'4" broad. I think you're starting to get the picture here. This is a guy who is not going to be explosive, not going to give you a lot of bend or dip around the edge. He's not going to get to quarterbacks constantly, but he is going to hold strong and stout and be a reliable force for you on your defense when you're trying to do the basic things. And because of that, there are a couple of big boards that have him in day two, but the aggregate says he's a round four pick, approximately round four. In 2022, he was kind of the better version of himself, I think. 51 tackles, 9.5 for loss in 14 games, but only 3.5 sacks. So the picture is painted. This is a guy who's going to give you very limited stuff as a pass rusher, but he's going to hold really strong against the run. He's going to be a great run defender. He's good at maneuvering through traffic to make plays on running backs. He's good at working through the clump of bodies moving around and finding a way to make a play on the back. He uses his hands with skill and power, good at controlling the point of attack. He's got a high motor. He's a smart player. So he's just one of those guys that offers a really high baseline. Now, there's also a pretty low ceiling. He's never going to give you that much as a pass rusher. He's got no bend, no explosiveness, and he didn't play massive snaps at Clemson. Like in 2021, he averaged less than 2 tackles a game. So very rotational. And in 2022, he obviously played more, but still not a huge amount. So you know what you're getting with KJ Henry. He's an early down edge player who holds up really well against the run and is definitely part of a balanced rotation. You need players like KJ Henry. I think fourth round is fine. I would take him in the fourth round. I don't know if it's necessarily what we need, but I don't think we don't need it. And at the very least, like I said, I feel like you know what you're getting with him. I feel like you know that you're getting a guy who can play on rundowns, and you're not going to and he's going to give you really good reps in that scenario. And I know sometimes that can seem like a not a huge need, but it can be. So now we have Dylan Horton of TCU, the national champion losers. 23 years old, 6'4", 257 pounds, 33 and an eighth inch arms, 9.5-inch hands, 34-inch vert, 10-foot broad, 18 bench press reps. The big board that really likes this guy is the Draft Network. The aggregate has him in the fourth. The Draft Network has him in the second. Now, I don't think that's going to happen, but he was very productive in 2022. Over that 15-game season that TCU played, he gave you more than 3 tackles, including 1 for loss a game, and also 10.5 sacks over the course of the year. So very productive in 2022. So I had a hard time with this guy. He lined up all over the place at TCU, but my initial impression was, oh, this is an edge player. So I was looking at him as an edge player. He's very physical in run defense. He's really good in run defense. He plays with a violence. He's good at shedding blockers, too. He's going to shed blockers and then go make plays on the running back. High motor. He's good at chasing down plays when he's the weak side defender. He's also got some good explosion as a pass rusher. He did not run at the combine, but I do believe he's a fairly explosive player. My first impression was that this guy's probably a Michael Bennett type, somebody who's best suited for a 4-3 defense. He doesn't have a whole lot in his pass rush set yet. He needs more counters. He needs more pass rush moves. He's not totally technically sound. I felt like he would be better in a 4-3 defense. And my initial impression was that he would be a kind of lackluster fit in this defense. But I was talking with the Hawks Nest on stream a few days ago, and he suggested Dylan Horton maybe moving inside, putting on some weight, and becoming like an interior rusher, maybe a 3-4 end. Now, That allowed me to look at Dylan Horton in a different light, but I'm just not entirely convinced that transition will be made. I know he did it some at TCU. I don't know how well that's going to translate to the NFL. So I'm a little more open to taking him in the fourth round because I'm not convinced of that transition. I'm not yet thinking he's a third rounder to this team. I think he could be a third rounder for the right team. So Dylan Horton ended up being a little more complicated than I expected to evaluate. I like him a lot. I think he's a third round value. But for the Seahawks, it depends on how you feel about him as an 3-4 end. And right now, I mean, he's going to have to add pretty serious weight to be taken all that seriously as a 3-4 end, I think. However, worst case scenario, you're getting a good player who I think will be good in a 4-3 as an edge player. So you can always, I mean, maybe your defense switches in a year. Who the heck knows? So good player. YaYa Diaby is next up of Louisville, 24 years old, 6'3", 263 pounds, a little bit on the heavier side. Pretty long arms, almost 34 inches. Had a nice combine. 4.5, 140, 156 10-yard split, 37-inch vert, 10-foot broad. Just for reference, by the way, 4.51 is actually the exact same 40 that Myles Murphy ran at his pro day. So this guy did very well for himself. The aggregate has him in the 5th round. I wouldn't be shocked if he ended up bumping up a little bit from that personally. As for me personally, I look at it and I go, okay, the 2022 season he blew up. Averaged more than a tackle for loss a game and gave you 9 sacks in 13 games. So really good production in 2022. But he is already 24 years old. There's not a whole lot of places for him to go. So let's try to understand what we're dealing with here. He's got good length, almost 34-inch arms, very good. He's got like a nice anchor of strength. He can anchor well. He's going to hold his ground really well. He's strong. He did line up inside a little bit in college. Don't know how it translates, but it could. He is a heavier guy. He's somebody who uses his power to blow through blockers. He's a nice combination of strength and speed. He's got that 4.5, 140, but he also has really good power. He converts speed to power really well off the edge. He's got a deadly punch when he engages with offensive linemen. He's excellent on stunts and twists and things like that, where he loops around the line of scrimmage to fool the offensive line and get to the quarterback quickly. He's super athletic and explosive. A lot to like, but as of right now, he doesn't really have much in his pass rush bag, and he is already 24 years old. That's not great. He doesn't really have the bend. He loses leverage battles a lot because, I mean, he's not even really that tall, really. He just plays standing straight up. And he also seems like he's lacking in the cerebral area of playing defense, which, again, if he was 21 years old, I might not care as much, but he's 24. He should be at a point now where he's got these things under control a little bit more. But he is a good fit. His testing scores were really good. I don't know. I ended up thinking 5th round is good. I can definitely see somebody looking at all this and saying 4th round, and I would probably be 4th round if he was like 22. But at 24, I don't like the fact that he needs so much refinement. That concerns me because he's already kind of getting a late start compared to some of these guys, and now you're telling me that he's going to also need time in the oven. He might not do much as a rookie. I mean, okay, he would probably do a little bit as a rookie, but it just, I don't know. I've really been put off the idea of drafting older prospects unless they're like quarterbacks or something, or if they're really ready to go out of the box. Okay, one more guy for this video. It's another Louisville player. Yasir Abdullah, 23 years old. This is the smaller guy. 6'1", 237 pounds. Maybe a little too small. 32 and 3/8 inch arms. Decent, not great. Ran a really good 40. 4.47. 156 10-yard split is also very nice. 36.5-inch vert. 10-foot 9-inch broad. So freaky athlete. Even a little bit better, I would say, than his buddy Diaby. And a couple big boards have him on the fringe of day 2. But overall, he looks like a day 3 pick. The aggregate actually has him in the early 6th. Or, excuse me, the 6th. So there's kind of a little bit of a concern that his size will mean he won't translate, I think is what's going on here. Because super productive in college. The last 26 games he's played, he's given you 123 tackles, 31 tackles for loss, and 19 and a half sacks. Big time playmaker. Big time playmaker. If you look at his pass rush production, it's been some of the best in the country. He's quick off the snap. He explodes off the snap really well. Knows how to press his advantage when he gets an advantage against the lineman. Like if he gets the lineman leaning or off balance or gets him in an awkward situation, he's really good at pressing the advantage until he's won the encounter. He's an excellent all-around athlete in terms of like stringing multiple pass rush moves together. He gives high effort at all times, and he's good shooting gaps against the run. That was one of his best skills. That's why he racked up all these crazy tackle for loss numbers. He's not very strong. I mean, there's a reason why he's only weighing in at 237 right now. He doesn't utilize power to win really at all. If you run directly at him, kind of like the Darrell Taylor stuff, he gets washed out of the play. He gets crowd surfed out. He doesn't do a lot of shedding when he's engaged straight up. Like he struggles to shed the blocker. He's somebody who can maybe use a pass rush move to get by him. But once he's locked in, he's a little locked in. And he's on the smaller side, obviously. And 6'1", you're starting to push it. But I really like this guy as a rotational edge rusher. Somebody who comes in on passing downs and provides speed and pass rush moves. And there is some high potential here. I'm not saying he'll ever get there because he does have some big limitations. But I like this guy. I'd spend a 4th rounder on him. I don't feel amazing about it because this 6'1" edge rushers usually don't have success in the NFL. But there's so much to really like here. I feel like something is going to work. This combination of size and speed is rare. And yeah, that's it for this video. Those are 4 more day 3 edge rushers. Let me know what you think down below. I will see you guys later. One more video coming. Go Hawks.